Yeah, I want to thank Barnet Live for organising this evening, and I want to say, wow, what tremendous turnout. And I've never seen anything like this since about 20 odd years ago, or possibly longer. But these things, the Barnet, stand up, okay.
Yes, please. Speaking to the microphone. Speaking to the microphone.
You know, the One Barnet programme just didn't emerge out of nothing. And why I mentioned the turnout this evening is because the last time we had a turnout like this in North Finchley was at the library, when we used to have what was called then, and still called, the residence forums. And in those days, the residence forums were attended by hundreds of people. And I remember a raucous meeting there to do with retail park. Don't know if any of you were there. And we really had, in those days, a real engagement with residents. And the real issue that faces us tonight is that for the last 15 or so years, there's been a disconnect between the politicians and the public. If you go to a resident forum these days, you're lucky if there's a handful of people turning out. Most people have given up on them. And they've given up because they turn up, give of their time, but the politicians don't seem to take any notice. And this is why this evening, I think, gives a clearer message than I can give, or any politician can give, that you, the residents of Barnet, are really concerned about what's going on. Now, Richard, in his opening remarks, talks about services. But he missed out one important word, and that was public services. And I have to tell you that I don't believe public services can be given to private companies to make a profit. That is my basic premise. But why have we got where we are today? The reason is because the council, run by Conservative administration, have not been keeping in touch with residents and elected councillors. As I say, these things just don't happen. And if you go back a number of years, when a new way of running local government was introduced, and we had the cabinet system replacing the committee system. Now, the committee system wasn't perfect. But I have to tell you that the cabinet system is deeply flawed. And personally, as a councillor that's been on the council now for over 25 years, I know little today about what's going on. I am kept in the dark, my colleagues who are not in the cabinet are kept in the dark, and I suspect that those members of the administration who are not in the cabinet are also kept in the dark. So there's been no opportunity to properly look at what is being proposed to do with our services. Now, I don't know whether it's going to save £100 million or £140 million. Nobody knows, because these are figures just plucked from the air. But what I do know is that if these proposals go through, and it's still not too late to stop them, we are being signed up to 10-year contracts with private companies with no real way out. And what that really means is that if there's, well, I'm going to say if there's a change of administration, because I believe there will be a change of administration. Yeah. And I might not get such a cheer if I say I hope the Lib Dems are part of the I have to say that, don't I? But listen to me. The problem is that because we signed up to these contracts for 10 years, we won't be able to change anything. Now when I say we, I don't mean me as a politician. I mean we as residents. Because this goes to the heart of democratic accountability. When it comes to the next local elections, what will you be voting for? You'll be voting for councillors who will protect your public services. But if those services are already out with private companies, What are you voting for?
I can't get them back.
This is why it's an attack on democracy. It's also an attack on democracy and accountability. Because as a councillor, I fear I will no longer have any influence, will not be able to advocate on behalf of my residents, and will not be able to make any changes if things go wrong. I'm going to shut up now because I think there's so many of you here, and I'm sure many people want to ask questions. So I'm going to leave it to you to ask us questions, listen to what you have to say. You don't have to convince me, but I hope Councillor Cornelius and his colleagues don't need any convincing about the strength of feelings from the turnout here this evening. Thank you.
Okay, well,